Hey, y'all, and welcome back to the Winning Wednesday podcast. I am your host, Geneva Brown, and we're going to continue our study on the book of Proverbs. Today, we'll be going over chapters 3, 4, and 5. So let's jump right into it. So, in chapter number 3, we're going to see Solomon here giving some instruction first to his firstborn son. And so he comes right in and he tells him how he can trust in the Lord. And so I want you all to pay attention to how he actually expresses how his son, which is his firstborn heir, which would be the one that would take over his reign after he passes away, how he tells him, this is the very first thing that I want you to do. I want you to first be able to trust in the Lord with all of your heart. And so he says, my son, don't forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commands, for they will bring you many days of full life and well being. Never let loyalty and faithfulness leave you. Tie them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will find favor and high regard with God and people. Remember, Solomon prayed to God and he asked the Lord for wisdom so that he can govern the people properly. So it's no coincidence that he's also telling his son to make sure that you also trust in the Lord with all your heart. He's telling him the way that you trust in the Lord with all your heart is to, number one, be committed to trusting in God. And when you do that, it will become a way of life for you. So he continues on to say, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him and he will make your paths straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. This will be healing for your body and strengthening for your bones. Honor the Lord with all of your possessions and your first fruits. He's telling his son, put God first in everything that you do. Give God your first thoughts. Give God the first honor and being the one to help you through whatever situation it is that you have. When you put him first and you give him your best, these are all the things that you're going to obtain from him. So he says, then your barns will be completely filled and your vats will overflow with new wine. Do not despise the Lord's instruction, my son. Do not loathe his discipline. He also says, in order to trust in the Lord, you also must be able to accept correction from God. Because Solomon knew, just like David knew, that we are apt to sin. We are not perfect. And we don't always get it right. We don't always listen to everything that God tells us to do. So when we do go astray, which will always happen to all of us, we must be able to accept that correction and fall back in line. For the Lord disciplines the ones he loves, just as a father disciplines the son in whom he delights. He's saying when God gives you that correction, he's not doing it because he dislikes you or that he's even mad with you. It's because he loves you and he wants you to get it right. And then he continues on to tell him about how wisdom is the priority of all things. Right after trusting in God, he needs to make sure he is finding wisdom. He says, happy is a man who finds wisdom and who acquires understanding, for she is more profitable than silver and her revenue is better than gold. You cannot find something that you aren't looking for. He says, I want you to find understanding. And then when you find understanding, these are the benefits of finding this wisdom. He says, she is more, that's wisdom. She is more precious than jewels. Nothing you desire can equal her. There's nothing in this world that is going to treat you better, that is going to give you the best benefits than getting wisdom. Long life is in her right hand, and in her left, riches and honor. Her ways are pleasant, and all her paths are peaceful. She is a tree of life to those who embrace her, and those who hold on to her are happy. So when you find wisdom and understanding, these are the four things you will get. You will have long life, you will have riches and honor, you will have peace, and you will be happy. Those are all the things that all of us desire. And we wonder why we don't have all of these things. And it's because we're not seeking God's wisdom. We're not looking for his understanding, which goes beyond what we can see and what we will understand, because God's wisdom is not like man's wisdom. It'll have you doing something contrary or very in the opposite of what it is that you will have to do. But you know what? It's going to give you that life you're looking for. It's going to give you that honor and the riches. It's going to give you that peace, and it's going to give you that happiness. And then he continues on. And he says, the Lord founded the earth by wisdom and established the heavens by understanding. By his knowledge, the water depths broke open and the clouds dripped with dew. He's telling him, son, stop and think about this for a moment. I want you to look around you. Look at the heavens, look at the earth, look at the trees, look at the rivers and the water, and how the water just stops right here and it doesn't continue to go. Look at all of this beauty, all of the earth that God has created for us. He did that in his wisdom. And so, if God knew the right tree to plant in the right season, the right trees that would grow in the right climate or in the right state or city or whatever it is, God knows everything. If he can put together a perfect earth, you can trust him that whatever the wisdom is that he gives you, it's going to be perfect for you. He continues on to say, but you must maintain this wisdom. He says, maintain sound wisdom and discernment. My son, don't lose sight of them. They will be life for you, an adornment for your neck. Then you will go safely in your way. Your foot will not stumble. You will lie down. You will not be afraid. You will lie down, and your sleep will be pleasant. Don't fear sudden danger or the ruin of the wicked when it comes, for the Lord will be your confidence and will keep your foot from a snare. He says, listen, though, what you find can be lost. So you must maintain this wisdom and your discernment by making it a way of life. That's what he means when he says an adornment for your neck. It is something that you wear always. You know, we have that favorite necklace, that favorite pair of earrings that we just love, and it's our favorite. We want to keep it on. We want everyone to see it every single day. It's that reminder. He's saying that wisdom is something that you have on daily. It's something that you maintain daily. And if you do that, you'll, number one, have safety. You will have no fear. You will have rest, and you will have confidence that no matter what you face, God is going to help you through that. And then he also tells him, now, the next thing that I need you to know, because remember, this is the son that he's talking to that's going to reign after him. So he's telling him, look, you got to trust in the Lord. You got to find this wisdom. And then he says, you got to treat people right. So he says, when it is in your power, don't withhold good from the one to whom it belongs. Don't say to your neighbor, go away, come back later, and I'll give it to you tomorrow when it is there with you today. Don't plan any harm against your neighbor, for he trusts you and lives near you. Don't accuse anyone without cause when he has done you no harm. Don't envy a violent man or choose any of his ways, for the devious are detestable to the Lord, but he is a friend to the upright. The Lord curse is on the household of the wicked, but he blesses the home of the righteous. He mocks those who mock, but gives grace to the humble. The wise will inherit honor, but he holds up fools to dishonor. So he says, listen, the last thing that I need you to know is that you must treat others fairly. And this is how you do it. Be true to your word. If you say you're going to do something, go ahead and do it. Don't play games with someone. Don't make someone sweat. You know how it is sometimes someone has done you wrong, and now you've already said in your mind that they're going to have to come back to you. But give someone grace. Even if they do have to come back to you, don't delay in showing them that grace and that favor and that forgiveness. Don't intentionally plan to harm your neighbors. Don't try to intentionally get back at someone, even if they don't treat you right. We all have to live in close proximity to one another. We all need to live in this unity and the peace with one another. And don't look at anybody who does the wrong thing, because sometimes we can look at people that are evil and violent, and it seems like they're getting away with things. But he says in the end, God will take care of that person. So don't try to go after that person, or don't try to model yourself or do what they're doing, because in the end, they're not going to win. They're going to be dishonored. And then now that's chapter 3. So now in chapter number 4, now Solomon turns and now he's talking to all of his children. And he says, listen, sons, not just one son, sons, to the father's discipline and pay attention so that you may gain understanding. For I'm giving you good instruction. Don't abandon my teaching. When I was a son with my father, tender and precious to my mother, he taught me and said, your heart must hold on to my words. Keep my commands and live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Don't forget or turn away from the words from my mouth. Don't abandon wisdom, and she will watch over you. Love her, and she will guard you. Wisdom is supreme, so get wisdom. And whatever else you get understanding. Cherish her, and she will exalt you. If you embrace her, she will honor you. She will place a garland of favor on your head, and she will give you a crown of beauty. Solomon has now turned his attention to all of his children, and he says, listen, what I'm saying to you is not something that I just got. I've got this teaching from my father, David. So he's remembering what it is that David said. He's remembering David's life, and he knows that the words that David told him are true because he's David told him before he passed away to follow in these commandments and that these very same benefits Solomon would have. And Solomon has found out through his life that this what David told him and what David taught him, what his mother taught him is true. That if you trust God, that if you seek God, that if you seek his wisdom and seek his understanding, you will have a very beneficial life. And so he's turned his attention to all of his children and says, I know I've been speaking to my son who's going to be my heir, but listen, this same teaching is for you as well. You know how it is with your children. You have that one child, your firstborn, that you put a lot of responsibility on, and you want to make sure that they can make sure that the family is okay once you pass on. But this same instruction is just not for that oldest child. It's also for all of the children. And he goes on to tell his children, listen, there are two ways in life. Listen, my sons, accept my wisdom, and you will live many years. I am teaching you the way of wisdom. I am guiding you on straight paths. When you walk, your steps will not be hindered. And when you run, you will not stumble. Hold on to instruction. Don't let go. Guard it with your life. He said, listen, I know I'm your father, and y'all have seen my life, and y'all have heard the stories about David and all that he has done. And sometimes as children, we feel like, well, my parent can't tell me what to do. How do they understand? How can they relate to what it is that I'm going through? But parents understand exactly what children are going through. One thing as parents that we need to do is come to them, just like Solomon is coming to his children and say, listen, I understand. I know I'm giving you this instruction because I know I got it from my father and I know that it works. I know that you have to be humble. I know that you're going to make mistakes. I know that you need to listen to some instruction because I had to listen to some instruction. So he continues on to tell them, listen, keep off the path of the wicked. Don't proceed on the way of the evil ones. Avoid it. Don't travel on it. Turn away from it. Pass by it. For they can't sleep unless they have done what is evil. They have robbed you of sleep. And unless they make someone stumble, they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. The path of righteousness is like the light of dawn, shining brighter and brighter until the midday. But the way of the wicked is like the darkness gloom, and they don't know what makes them stumble. He says, Solomon says, listen, I've watched my life. I've watched my father's life, and I have learned from my father. And I want you all to learn from my life too. I've stumbled. I've fallen into these traps. That's how I know to tell you to look out and watch out for those things. And then he says, this is the straight path, though, that you need to be on. You can either be on that path where you fall and you stumble and you're ensnared, or you can be on this other straight path. And this straight path has wisdom. My son, pay attention to my words. Listen closely to my sayings. Don't lose sight of them. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them and health to the ones whose body guard your heart above all else. For it is the source of life. He continues to kind of repeat this same thing, guarding your heart, guarding your life, seeking wisdom, seeking understanding. He continues to say, don't let your mouth speak dishonestly. Don't let your lips talk deviously. Let your eyes look forward. Fix your gaze straight ahead. Carefully consider the path of your feet, and all your ways will be established. Don't turn to the right or to the left. Keep your feet away from evil. He says, listen, on this path of wisdom, get that wisdom. Don't look back after you've learned from your mistake. Don't look back. Keep looking forward. Just keep pressing on. Consider your next step more carefully now that you have this wisdom, and then you will be established. And then he says, there is something that you must always be vigilant of, and that is seduction. He says, my son, pay attention to my wisdom. Listen closely to my understanding so that you may maintain discernment and your lips safeguard knowledge. Though the lips of the forbidden woman drip like honey, and her words are smoother than oil. And in the end, she's as bitter as a wormwood and has sharp-edged sword, and her feet go down to death. Her steps take her straight to Sheol. He says there's going to be people out there that's going to try to deceive you all. There's going to be people out there, not just a woman, people out there are trying to deceive you because they don't want you to maintain this wisdom that I'm trying to give you, this sound teaching, this sound instruction. And they're going to make it so sweet. They're going to make it so appealing that it's going to be like honey. It's going to be so smooth. The words that they say is going to be like oil. But in the end, they have this ulterior motive, and it is to kill you. It's a double-edged sword. It is to take you out. Be warned about that. She doesn't consider the path of life. She doesn't know her ways are unstable. A person who is seductive, they are selfish. They're only for their own gain. And they are so unstable because they're just trying to get to that next. So now, sons, listen to me and don't turn away from the words from my mouth. Keep your way far from her. Don't go near the door of her house. Otherwise, you will give her vitality to others and your years of someone cruel. Don't give in to her because then you are going to be entrapped and it's going to take a minute for you to get out of that. Strangers will drain your resources. It's going to take so much from you. Other people are going to start taking from you, and your hard earned pay will end up in a foreigner's house because that's what they want to do. They're trying to take from you. A seductive person does not want to build you up. They don't want to pour into you. They don't want to encourage you. All they want to do is take from you. And at the end of life, you're going to lament. You're going to be regretful when your physical body has consumed, and you will say, how I hated this discipline. You're going to say, you know what? I wish I would have listened. I wish I would have listened. And how my heart despised correction. And I didn't obey my teachers or listen closely to my instructions. I am on the verge of complete ruin before the entire community. A seductive person will rip every single thing that you have worked for, every single thing that you stand for. You will be a totally different person and you will be left drained and with nothing. He says, watch out for those type of people. And then he also says something different, though. As he's talking about this seductive woman, he also says, but there is one thing that I do want you to do. I want you to enjoy marriage so that you do not get into that snare of that seductive woman. He says, drink water from your own cistern, water flowing from your own well, within your own house, the one that you have brought into your house, the one that you have stood before God and said that this is my flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, body of my body. This is my possession that God has given to me. And he says, should your springs flow in the streets, streams in the public squares? He says, should the one that you own, should the one not own, but should the one that you love, or should your wife or should your spouse be out there in the streets, in the public squares? No, that's not where they should be. They should be for you alone, not for you to share with others. Let your fountain be blessed and take pleasure in the wife of your youth, a loving deer, a graceful doe. Let her breast always satisfy you. Be lost in her love forever. Y'all know Songs of Solomon. He has beautiful love stories, beautiful scriptures about how a man and a woman are to enjoy themselves and to love each other and embrace their marriage. So he's given a little bit of inkling of how he knows how beautiful marriage can be to that one person that you are committed to, how it will be peaceful for you, how it will be so satisfying for you. He says, why, son, would you lose yourself then for this forbidden woman or embrace a wayward woman? Don't even try to get to someone else's wife or to someone that is seductive. For a man's ways are before the Lord's, he says, because God is looking. You've made this commitment that you've said that this is your wife and that you're going to honor her. God is watching. He's looking at your commitment and he considers all of his paths. A wicked man and iniquities will trap him. A wicked man, iniquities will trap him, and he will become tangled into the ropes of his own sin, and he will die because there is no discipline, and be lost because of his great stupidity. Listen, Solomon knew a lot about this with these forbidden women because the children of Israel, God gave them many instructions. Even in Moses' time, he gave them instructions of who they should and should not marry. And so Solomon married with these women of different faiths and different beliefs. They believed in all of these idol gods. And so Solomon knew that those women had actually changed a part of him. And he's warning his children because he allowed them to worship their idol gods, even though they were married and in his household and he was supposed to be following the Jewish customs. He himself did, but he allowed his wives to follow in their old customs and to worship all of these idol gods. And you cannot be in a household with someone that's worshiping something that you're not worshiping, and it does not affect you in some type of way. And so these things started to affect Solomon, and Solomon started to sin, and it greatly displeased God. But Solomon here, one thing about Proverbs, they have a lot of thoughts about who really wrote it, but Solomon did, and it seems as though there was someone kind of documenting this, kind of like a person just kind of like watching his life and being in the room and listening to all of the things that he's saying, and they're writing all of these things down. Or it could have been in my mind, and hey, this is not Bible, but for me, I was imagining maybe Solomon at the end of his life, he had a personal confidant person that he says, I want you to write down these things because I know I need to share with the world. I know my mistakes. I know where I've been, but I need to share this with my children. And then I eventually need to share this with the world so everyone will know and everyone will learn from my mistakes. And so we have this book of Proverbs here now. Like I said, y'all, that's just my thoughts. It's not Bible, not been tested, not been studied. It's not in any commentaries or anything like that. That's just my thoughts of what I think. And maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Only God can judge me on that one. But in my mind, that's what I kind of imagine there, because there is evidence that this was something that was written at the ending of Solomon's life. But anyway, what I want you all to know about these set of scriptures here is that we must trust in God, and that we can learn as parents. We must not be afraid to share in our stories and our struggles, and to tell our children the truth, and to let them know that we do identify with a lot of the struggles that they have, and that we were not perfect, but we are striving to be perfect, and that we also want wisdom. There's not a person that does not want to make good choices and better decisions. There's not a person that doesn't want that. And so, as parents, we must be able to be vulnerable enough to share some of the things. We don't have to tell our children every single thing, but we need to be able to give them that instruction. And Solomon did it in a wise way. He was telling them about himself, about the things that he experienced, even what his father experienced, to try to get them to see. He's pleading with them. He's trying to get them to understand that I truly do know what it is that you're going through, and I truly am trying to give you this advice because I know it's going to be good for you, because someone gave me some good advice as well. So that is the Winning Wednesday word. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see y'all in the next one.